Hello, how are you doing? I'm now wondering everything. I'm home.
Bonjour. Mais à tout moment, comment allez-vous? À tout moment, on est là. On n'est pas seulement là pour le monde. Bonjour, ça va? On a reçu la lettre. C'est la... Cours? Back? Today. No, no,
Declaro abierta
the 9,988th meeting of the Security Council is called to order. The provisional agenda for this meeting is the question concerning Haiti. The agenda is adopted. In accordance with Rule 37 of the Council's Provisional Rules of Procedure, I invite the representatives of Barbados, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti to participate in this meeting. It is so decided. In accordance with Rule 39 of the Council's Provisional Rules of Procedure, I invite the following briefers to participate in this meeting. Ms. Catherine Russell, Executive Director, United Nations Children's Fund, and Mr. Jean-Jean Roosevelt. It is so decided. The Security Council will now begin its consideration of item 2 of the agenda. I warmly welcome the Secretary General, His Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres. I thank him very much for being with us today, and I now give him the floor.
Señor Presidente,
President, I would like to thank Panama for convening this briefing on the humanitarian and child protection situation in Haiti. Your Excellencies, the people of Haiti are in a perfect storm of suffering. State authority is crumbling as gang violence engulfs Port-au-Prince and spreads beyond, paralyzing daily life and forcing families to flee. Civilians are under siege, with appalling reports of rape and sexual violence. Hospitals and schools are under repeated attack. The rule of law has collapsed. The humanitarian toll is staggering. 1.3 million people, half of them children, have fled their homes. 6 million people need humanitarian assistance. Haiti is now among the 5 global hunger hotspots of highest concern. Aid workers, especially local responders, are being targeted, facing threats of violence, extortion, and kidnapping. Let me be clear. All parties must respect international humanitarian law. Humanitarian personnel, assets, and facilities must be protected. Despite the danger, humanitarians remain on the ground, delivering food, water, medicine, and shelter. In the first quarter of this year alone, they reached 1.3 million people. Yet, Haiti remains shamefully overlooked and woefully underfunded. For 2025, we require $908 million to support 3.9 million people. But less than 10% of that has been received, making Haiti the least funded humanitarian appeal in the world. As a result, over 1.7 million people risk receiving no assistance at all. This is not a funding gap. It is a life and death emergency. I urge all donors to act before life-saving operations grind to a halt.
Excellencies, children are bearing the brunt of this crisis. In my annual report on children and armed conflict, Haiti ranked among the top 5 countries for grave violations against children in 2024. Children are being abducted and killed, recruited and used and subjected to horrific sexual violence, including gang rape. These are crimes that scare bodies, minds, and futures. The United Nations verified 2,269 grave violations against 1,373 children last year, a nearly 5-fold increase from the year before. This includes 213 children killed, 138 maimed, and 302 children recruited and used. We also verified 566 cases of sexual violence against minors, including 160 cases of gang rape, underscoring how such crimes are used as a weapon of terror and control. Basic services have collapsed. Mass displacement has left children without education, healthcare, or safety. As of April, gang violence have interrupted the schooling of 243,000 students. We verified 154 abductions, 154 attacks on schools and hospitals, and 728 incidents of denial of humanitarian access. The 2024 handover protocol between the United Nations and the government of Haiti is an important step toward protecting children detained for alleged association with armed groups, but implementation remains uneven. Conditions at Sermicol, the Integration Center for Minors in Conflict with the Law, are deeply troubling. I'm also alarmed by the rise of so-called community self-defense groups, some aligned with police forces, implicated in grave violations, including summary execution of children. I urge all authorities to implement the handover protocol nationwide. End the detention of children for alleged association with armed groups. Ensure access to specialized services, including for survivors of sexual violence, and guarantee accountability for all perpetrators. I call on this Council to prioritize the protection of children. Excellencies, the political situation remains fragile, but there are emerging signals of hope. I'm encouraged by growing cooperation between the President of the Transitional Council, Laurent Saint-Cyr, and the Prime Minister, Alix Didier Fils-Aimé, who are both leading consultations to move the political process forward. We are also seeing closer coordination between the Prime Minister's Task Force, the Haitian National Police, and the Multinational Security Support Mission, improving operations on the ground. These fragile gains must be protected and expanded. That requires decisive and coordinated international security support to strengthen national efforts, protect the population, and create the conditions for a return to the rule of law and credible, inclusive elections. I welcome efforts by members of this Council to advance my 24 February proposal to strengthen the Multinational Security Support Mission through UN logistic and operational support. I urge the Council to act without delay and authorize an international force supported by the United Nations through logistical and operational backing and predictable financing. Voluntary contributions to the MSS Trust Fund remain essential, but assessed support would ensure impact and sustainability. Security measures must go hand in hand with increased pressure on those fueling the violence. This includes an effective arms embargo, as well as a targeted expansion of sanctions against gang leaders, financiers, armed traffickers, and others connected to them. These steps are vital to cut off the weapons and money that sustain chaos. Enforcement at ports, borders, and online must be strengthened in close coordination with regional partners. My special representative, Carlos Ruiz Massieu, is in Port-au-Prince, working with national and international partners to build consensus at this pivotal moment. BNU will continue to support an inclusive political process and work closely with the Haitian National Police, the MSS, and donors to ensure coherent, coordinated assistance. I urge all national stakeholders to seize this moment and sustain this spirit of cooperation. Excellencies, with unity inside the country and resolve from this Council, the Haitian people can emerge from the perfect storm, begin to turn hardship into hope, and reclaim their future. I reaffirm my unwavering solidarity and the determination of the United Nations to stand side by side with the people of Haiti for peace, dignity, and security, and I thank you.
Agradezco.
I would like to thank the Secretary General for his briefing. I now give the floor to Ms. Catherine Russell.
Good morning. Thank you, Ambassador Alfaro of Panama and Ambassador Shea of the United States for co-convening this briefing and for the opportunity to address this Council today on the dire crisis facing children in Haiti. Thank you very much to the Secretary General for his deep and ongoing commitment to the protection of children affected by armed conflict. And a heartfelt thank you to UNICEF National Ambassador Jean-Jean Roosevelt for his passion, art, and dedication to the protection of children from violence. Excellencies, since I last briefed you on the situation in Haiti nearly a year ago, the humanitarian crisis has only worsened, spreading beyond the capital, Port-au-Prince, to other parts of the country. Haiti's children continue to endure unimaginable suffering amidst the brutal armed violence. Indeed, one of the defining features of this crisis is the rampant rights violations against children. As the Secretary General said, in 2024, Haiti ranked among the 5 countries on the Children in Armed Conflict agenda with the highest number of verified grave violations against children anywhere in the world. Last year, the UN in Haiti verified more than 2,000 grave violations against children. This marked a nearly 500% increase over the previous year. The increased rate of violations has continued into 2025. In the first quarter of this year, there has been a 25% increase compared to the first quarter of 2024. Most alarming is the almost 700% rise in cases of recruitment of children, alongside a 54% increase in killing and maiming. Keep in mind that these are just the cases we have been able to verify. We believe the true figures are likely much higher. Children are being killed and maimed during violence between armed actors, particularly in dense populated areas of Port-au-Prince. We have also verified cases of children being summarily executed. The entry of new armed actors and more sophisticated technology, including explosive weapons, into the fighting is putting children's safety at even greater risk. The recruitment and use of children by armed groups is rampant. We estimate that children currently account for a staggering 50% of armed group members active today. Children are being forced into combat roles, directly participating in armed confrontations. Others are being used as couriers, as lookouts, as porters to carry weapons, or are exploited for domestic labor, roles that expose them to grave and lasting physical and psychological harm. As I saw when I visited Haiti, children are being subjected to appalling sexual violence that has reached unprecedented levels. In 2024, the number of reported cases of sexual violence against children rose by 1,000% over the previous year. And as you will have seen in the Secretary General's annual report on children in armed conflict, the UN found that a quarter of all cases of verified sexual violence were gang rapes. This constitutes a widespread campaign to terrorize communities and inflict lasting physical and psychological trauma on children, especially girls, who account for most of the victims and survivors. Excellencies, in the face of this devastating situation for children, UNICEF and our partners are being denied access to provide the humanitarian response that is so desperately needed, which I would add is also a grave violation of children's rights. In 2023, the UN verified 5 incidents of denial of humanitarian access, while last year that number skyrocketed to 728. In denying access, armed groups are undermining the ability of humanitarian actors to reach 1.6 million children and women in areas under their control. This is also impeding our efforts to monitor and report on the grave violations committed. Last month, 6 UNICEF staff members were taken hostage by an armed group while carrying out a life-saving humanitarian mission. Thankfully, they have since been released, but this incident reveals the dangers humanitarian colleagues on the ground are facing. Humanitarian workers are not and must never be targets. Despite these challenges and the insecurity, UNICEF and our partners remain on the ground working to deliver life-saving assistance for those in need. Together with our partners, so far this year, we have treated 21,000 children for severe wasting, provided health care to 117,000 people, and reached 140,000 people with safe water. We continue our efforts to engage and negotiate with armed actors to prevent and end grave rights against children. And we are supporting the authorities to develop a child-sensitive and child-friendly system to respond when violations are reported. Since 2024, the government of Haiti and UNICEF have demobilized and reintegrated over 140 children through the framework of the Protocol for the Handover of Children Associated with Armed Groups. And just last month, the Haitian government, in partnership with UNICEF, officially launched the Prevention and Rehabilitation Program against children and youth recruitment. This 3-year program seeks to protect children from recruitment, exploitation, and violence while offering them reintegration solutions and support. But far more must be done to protect Haiti's children from the scourge of violence that has taken hold in their communities. Today, I ask members of this council to use all available leverage to protect children and to support concrete actions to prevent further violations. I ask you to demand that all armed groups end attacks on schools and hospitals, immediately release children from their ranks, and allow secure, unimpeded access for humanitarian workers to safely reach communities in need. I ask that you appeal to security forces on the ground to prioritize the safety and protection of all children and to ensure they are treated as children first and foremost, taking every measure to further avoid killing and injuring children, including those who have been recruited. I ask that you support the government of Haiti and its partners to prioritize children's rights across public policies and through investment in social services. This includes education, healthcare, justice, and social protection for children. This also includes reintegration for children currently or previously associated with armed groups and for children who have been subjected to sexual violence and other grave violations. Lastly, we call on donors to show solidarity with the Haitian people and contribute to funding appeals. The humanitarian needs and response plan to address the needs of nearly 4 million people in Haiti is just 10% funded. Without immediate donor support, our life-saving assistance and protection services for those most in need are at serious risk. Excellencies, grave rights violations against children in Haiti or anywhere in the world cannot be tolerated. Every child deserves a chance to be safe, healthy, and to live in peace. But peace can only be forged and sustained when children are prioritized and protected. UNICEF stands ready to work with this council, with Haitian children and communities, and with every partner dedicated to this cause. We must urgently respond with a shared commitment to finally deliver the promise of a peaceful, prosperous society for all of Haiti's children. Thank you very much.
Agradezco a la
I thank Ms. Russell for her briefing. I now give the floor to Mr. Jean-Jean Roosevelt.
Mesdames et messieurs,
Ladies and gentlemen, we gather once again today with heavy hearts. We're here to address a reality that shakes us deeply, the suffering of children in Haiti. Haiti, this great nation, a symbol of courage and freedom, is enduring one of the darkest and most difficult chapters in its recent history. At the center of the storm are children, innocent and vulnerable, children who are the bearers of the future and who are paying the highest price. Armed violence is tearing Haiti apart like a broken guitar, the strings of which produce nothing but tears and cries. Armed groups have overtaken entire neighborhoods. They've robbed children of the lightness of their steps. Children now live in a symphony of fear in which every alleyway has been turned into a dissonant note. And it is these very same children who are paying the heaviest price. They're being forcibly recruited, abused, used as cannon fodder as if their youth no longer held any value. In 2024 alone, recruitment of children surged by 70%. This persistent and worsening situation threatens the future of an entire generation. Over 680,000 children no longer have a home to grow up in. They sleep in overcrowded conditions where even the air seems heavy with sorrow. Many of them are exploited, humiliated, subjected to verbal, psychological, physical, and often sexual violence. Rape, especially rape against girls, has risen by more than 1,000% in 2024 versus 2023. The Secretary General's latest report on grave violations against children in Haiti confirms this tragedy. Abductions, killings, sexual violence, attacks on schools and hospitals now run into the hundreds. Schools which used to be open sanctuaries have become minefields. Schools are being destroyed and classrooms have been converted into shelters for displaced families. This reality is a silent condemnation of an entire generation. Today, more than 1.5 million children are being deprived of regular access to education. 3.3 million, that's 2 out of every 3, rely on humanitarian aid. 129,000 children are at risk of dying of hunger this year. Ladies and gentlemen, behind these figures, which we repeat aloud over and over, there are faces, names, fragile dreams. Perhaps that of a little girl who wanted to be a doctor, or that of a boy who dreamt of playing drums at a carnival. Sadly, these dreams are now on hold. They're being snuffed out. They're under threat. I speak before you today as a musician and a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador. But above all, I speak to you as a Haitian. The child I once was always dreamt of contributing to building a better world by carrying the messages of love, peace, and solidarity to people across our planet. At this very moment, I'm here before you, fulfilling my dream. And I'm convinced that, just like myself, the child you once were is also here in this chamber today, realizing their dream of becoming diplomats, ambassadors, agronomists, doctors, teachers, the list goes on. Let us give that same chance to our children, the chance to grow, to dream, and to one day become agents of change in our world. Let us give them back their most fundamental right, their childhood. Give them once again the opportunity to laugh, to run, to learn, to dream. Let us carry together their dignity, their hope, and their future. Let us take action so that Haiti may once again have schools, hospitals, and safe spaces. Let us take action so that children no longer have to live in fear, but live upheld by the promise of tomorrow. Let us act so that the future of Haiti is no longer compromised, but propelled forward by the energy, the laughter, and the dreams of its children. Ladies and gentlemen, the children of Haiti have sounded the alarm, raising a cry of urgency. The time to come to their aid is not tomorrow nor the day after. It is now. I thank you.
Agradezco al señor Roosevelt.
I would like to thank Mr. Roosevelt for his briefing. I will now make a statement in my capacity as representative of Panama. Your Excellencies, I would like to begin by warmly welcoming the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres. I thank him for being here, which is a matter of particular significance for Panama, because it reflects not just this organization's commitment, but also the geographical and human proximity that binds us to the reality that we are discussing today. I would also like to thank Ms. Russell, Executive Director of UNICEF, for her briefing and for her constant leadership to help children in the most difficult contexts. I would also like to express our deep thanks to Jean-Jean, whose work in Haiti has already changed lives and whose voice today reminds us from civil society of the direct impact that our decisions have on the lives of thousands of Haitian children. We have convened this meeting to address a reality that demands our full attention. That is to say, the humanitarian crisis in Haiti, and in particular, the tragic plight of Haitian children. This is a topic that, unfortunately, has not received the necessary attention on the Security Council's agenda, even though it is one of the most serious crises in all of our hemisphere, where only silence has been heard. This same people who once inspired an entire region, including ours, to rid themselves from colonialism and slavery, are today facing unprecedented criminal violence. Your Excellencies, speaking about Haiti today means, above all, speaking about the children of Haiti, boys and girls who, in spite of their suffering, are carrying on their shoulders a weight that no child should have to bear. The last report of the Secretary General on children in armed conflict in 2024 verified an unprecedented increase in grave violations throughout the world. And Haiti was one of those countries with the highest percentage increase in violations against children in the entire report. 2,269 grave violations were verified against 1,373 children, and specifically 351 children killed or maimed, 302 recruited by gangs, and 566 victims of sexual violence, including 160 cases of gang rape, which constitutes a 490% increase in comparison with the previous year, 2023. This means that access to essential services and justice for the survivors is of paramount importance. This is in addition to widespread internal displacement. Some 1.3 million people have been displaced from their homes. Of those, 680,000 are boys and girls. Families are having to repeatedly flee, and they continue to put their lives on the line, many going towards impromptu locations without any basic services, and this only exacerbates risks of protection, health, and nutrition, particularly for women and children. Your Excellencies, there is also a health, food, and educational emergency. Violence has cruelly struck the heart of the classrooms. In 2024, 284 schools were destroyed, and only in January of this year, another 47 schools were destroyed in the capital, Port-au-Prince. In addition to this, fear and attacks have meant that at least 959 schools have had to close. Many of them have been converted into makeshift refuges for families who have lost everything. It is a devastating state of affairs. By the 30th of April this year, 1,606 schools remained closed in 4 departments of the country. As a result of this, more than 243,000 students have seen their right to education cut off. They have been deprived not just of the ability to learn, but also of the hope for a better future. In addition to this, with persistent scarcity and hunger, the entire food supply chain is under threat. The people of Haiti are risking their lives to secure the scarce available products that there are. Peasants in the Artibonite are fearful to cultivate their land. Truck drivers have to pay extortionate taxes to the gangs in order to transport food. In this very difficult context, more than half of the Haitian population, some 5.7 million people, are suffering acute food insecurity. And this includes more than 37,000 pregnant women. In addition, more than 1 million boys and girls are facing urgent levels, and some 120,000 children under the age of 5 risk acute, serious malnutrition. In addition, people are struggling to get at basic services, drinking water, and health services. Haiti is one of the 5 countries in the world that is most affected by food insecurity in the world. These figures are not simple statistics. Behind every figure, there is a childhood that's been cut off too early. Empty desks in schools that are waiting for teachers to come back, and dreams that are not able to flourish. Your Excellencies, the 2025 Humanitarian Response Plan called for $908 million. And even though that was 751.6 million of that was stated to be a priority, by the midway through this month, only 19.5% had been funded, which is the lowest percentage in the entire world. This plan aims to help 3.9 million people, but it is on the cusp of gridlock today. Closing this gap is not just a technical statistical matter, it is literally the difference between life and death for thousands of women, children, and older people in Haiti. Given this reality, and the most vulnerable are bearing the brunt of this crisis, given this, Panama proposes a response that is focused on children, in line with this Council's resolutions. We call for all security measures to include child protection measures as well as unhindered access for United Nations monitoring teams and the relevant protocols. We call on all parties to abide by the Safe Schools Declaration and the guidelines to avoid the military use of schools, and urgently to finance the restructuring of infrastructure, as well as the protection of teachers and safe learning, particularly in the highest risk areas. We also urgently call for finance to be prioritized in critical areas such as nutrition, including treating severe emaciation and transfers to guarantee food. We also need to ensure that healthcare is provided through mobile clinics and immunization, water and sanitation, with measures to deal with cholera and safe spaces and psychosocial support for children as well. Your Excellencies, every figure is a story that can still have a different outcome. A recruited child who can go back to school, a girl who survived violence who can receive attention and justice, a baby with serious acute malnutrition who can still recover if therapeutic milk reaches them in time, a displaced family who can live again without fear. As the Haitian saying says, men ampil chez pas loup. With many hands, the work is light. That is precisely what needs to be done. Panama takes inspiration from this popular adage to urge the international community to join more hands together and to close the gaps that the Haitian people are facing today. Panama will continue to work with this entire council and also with the multinational support mission, with the United Nations Office, BNU, and with the Republic of Haiti as well, to ensure that the protection of children is the benchmark of success of our collective action. We owe the children of Haiti more than figures and speeches. We owe them results. Thank you very much. I once again resume my function as President of the Council, and I now will give the floor to those Council members who wish to make statements. I give the floor to the representative of the United States.
Thank you, Mr. President. And thank you, Secretary General Antonio Guterres, Executive Director Catherine Russell, and Mr. Jean-Jean Roosevelt for your briefings. The United States remains concerned about escalating levels of violence in Haiti. The territorial expansion of the gangs threatens to undermine gains made by both the Haitian National Police and the Multinational Security Support Mission. We continue to condemn the recruitment of children in armed gangs and the disproportionate impact of gang violence on children. In 2024, Haiti was reported as one of the countries with the most violations and abuses against children, with the large majority committed by the Vivre Ensemble coalition, which for the first time was listed in the Secretary General's report on children in armed conflict. Due to the violence, over 1.3 million people, half of them children, have been displaced. Children face constant risks of being killed or injured during gang attacks, police operations, or acts of mob justice. Forced recruitment by gangs and recurring incidents of sexual violence rob children of the peaceful lives they deserve. Corruption and indiscriminate violence remain major issues. We have taken concrete steps to counter impunity for those supporting violence in Haiti, with the United States designation of Vivre Ensemble and Grand Grief as foreign terrorist organizations and specially designated global terrorists. We applaud this council for the recent designation of Vivre Ensemble and Grand Grief as well. This sends an important message from the international community that we hold bad actors and entities to account. The United States recently announced a $5 million reward for information leading to the arrest of gang leader Jimmy Cherizier, also known as Barbecue. In addition, we remain committed to the removal and prosecution of criminals and enablers hiding in the United States who contribute to the violence and destruction in Haiti. These significant steps taken by the United States demonstrate the Trump administration's commitment to countering these criminal gangs and foreign terrorist organizations. Mr. President, food insecurity also remains a pressing concern. Active humanitarian and life-saving assistance awards continuing in Haiti include U.S.-grown emergency food aid, nutrition support, logistics, shelter, clean water, and medical services for crisis-affected Haitians. This sort of programming addresses critical needs like food, shelter, medical care for violence-affected children and survivors of sexual violence, cholera treatment and prevention, hygiene, and malnutrition treatment for families and children. In June, the Organization of American States General Assembly, the United States also co-sponsored a resolution which passed unanimously to galvanize action for Haiti and to complement efforts here at the UN. Moreover, the United States continues to work with the OAS as it proceeds with its roadmap for Haiti. This is an important step toward the regional leadership we expect on such shared regional challenges. Mr. President, with respect to the MSS mission, the United States thanks Kenya for its dedication, leadership, and support for over the past year. Kenya answered Haiti's call at a critical moment, demonstrating an enormous compassion and courage, putting its people in harm's way, thousands of miles from home, and preventing a complete collapse of the Haitian state. Without the presence of the MSS mission, the gangs would have been even more emboldened in their ambitions and brazen atrocities against civilians in Haiti. We would also like to thank the Bahamas, El Salvador, Belize, Guatemala, and Jamaica for contributing personnel toward this effort, and to Canada for its sizable contribution to the UN Trust Fund and to the planning efforts. As we look to combat the threat of terrorist gangs looking to topple the state, we must ensure an even greater share of the international community is invested in the fight. To address this, today, the United States and Panama are sharing a draft UN Security Council resolution with this council to help address the growing violence by establishing a gang suppression force and creating a UN support office to provide logistical support to efforts on the ground. We urge council members, join us. Join us in responding to the call from the Haitian government as we forge a new path toward peace and security and establish the UN support office to properly and sustainably resource this effort. This will ensure the mission has the tools at its disposal to take the fight to the gangs and ensure that the Haitian state can meet the foundational needs of its people. President, we note the next international force must be resourced to hold territory, secure infrastructure, and complement the Haitian National Police. In parallel, a comprehensive approach is required to disrupt gang financing, arms trafficking, and other illicit flows fueling instability. To make meaningful progress on this collective challenge, we need international stakeholders and donors to come to the table and join the United States, Panama, and others who have demonstrated their commitment to Haiti's security in meaningful burden sharing to help promote stability in Haiti. We stand with the Haitian people as they seek a secure, stable future for their country. We remain committed to working with the international community to drive progress forward in Haiti and call on all council members to take concrete action in support of this effort. I thank you.
Agradezco a la
I thank the representative of the United States for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of the United Kingdom.
Thank you, President. I thank the Secretary General, Executive Director Russell, and Mr. Roosevelt for briefing us today. And I welcome the participation of the representatives of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Barbados in our meeting. I'll make 3 points. First, the United Kingdom remains deeply concerned about the escalating humanitarian crisis in Haiti. As we've heard today, this crisis is driven by gang violence and instability that devastates communities and undermines efforts to restore democratic governance. We are particularly concerned by the impacts on children, who are among the most vulnerable victims of this crisis. 1 in 8 children in Haiti have been displaced. Armed gangs are systematically recruiting minors, fueling a surge in exploitation, sexual violence, and abuse. These atrocities spread fear and inflict lasting trauma on Haiti's young people. The UK remains firmly committed to supporting efforts to tackle insecurity in Haiti, and we unequivocally condemn the use of sexual violence, sexual and gender-based violence as a tool of control and terror. Second, we commend Kenya's leadership of the Multinational Security Support Mission, and we express our strong support for the vital work of international partners, including BINU, in helping the Haitian authorities deliver change for the Haitian people. As part of this commitment, the UK has provided $6.7 million to fund OHCHR's work with the MSS to help ensure compliance with international standards on human rights, conduct, and discipline. In parallel, we continue to take action against those responsible for human rights violations, including through the implementation of targeted sanctions. Third, re-establishing security is essential to Haiti's long-term stability and to alleviating suffering. In this context, we welcome the Secretary General's recommendations for enhanced security assistance for Haiti. President, we stand ready to work with the US, Panama, and all Council members to mobilize that support to the Haitian people and to help Haiti's children enjoy a future free from violence, fear, and hunger. I thank you.
Agradezco.
I thank the representative of the UK for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Pakistan.
Thank you, Mr. President, for convening this meeting. And we thank the Secretary General for his comprehensive briefing that provided a clear and authoritative account of the situation in Haiti. And I also thank Catherine Russell for UNICEF's sobering assessment. We also appreciate the testimony by Mr. Roosevelt. Pakistan also welcomes the participation of the representatives of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Barbados in this meeting. Mr. President, Haiti confronts a crisis of extraordinary complexity. Governance collapse, rampant criminal networks, and a deepening humanitarian emergency. Addressing this requires urgent, coordinated international support alongside a Haitian-led and owned process to restore security, advance the political process, rebuild institutions, and expand humanitarian relief. 3 points deserve emphasis. First, the humanitarian situation is dire. Over 1.3 million are displaced and nearly half the population, 6 million people, need urgent aid. Children are the most affected. As the Secretary General said, children are bearing the brunt of this crisis. Millions lack healthcare, clean water, and schooling. 2.85 million face acute food insecurity, with 1 million at emergency levels. Safe, unhindered humanitarian access is critical to prevent further loss of life and social collapse. This overlooked and underfunded situation, as the Secretary General put it, needs to be addressed. Second, humanitarian relief must be matched by political progress. Haiti's leadership must rise to the occasion, demonstrate unity, and put the national interest first. The Transitional President Council carries a vital responsibility to steer the country through this crisis. Lasting peace must be Haitian-led and supported by sustained international backing. The emerging signals of hope reported by the Secretary General are encouraging. We concur that the fragile gains must be protected and expanded. Third, stabilization requires strong state institutions, police, justice system, and governance structures. Armed gangs must be dismantled and children protected from recruitment and all aspects. Rule of law must be restored. The multinational security support mission, composed primarily of Kenyan personnel and other contributors who are diligently fulfilling their mandate in extremely challenging circumstances, deserves robust council backing. And BNU's continued role remains indispensable in reinforcing security, governance, and political stability. We also welcome the interest and proactive engagement by countries in the region to support Haiti in tackling the challenges that it confronts. Mr. President, the Haitian people deserve to live in peace and dignity, free from fear, free from want. They cannot be left to violence and despair. This is a test of the international community's resolve. Collective, timely, and bold action is indispensable. Pakistan stands in solidarity with the Haitian people. We have supported the Secretary General's recommendations submitted in February this year, and we are ready to work with all council members, including our US and Panamanian colleagues, to help deliver security, stability, and hope to Haiti. I thank you.
Agradezco.
I thank the representative of Pakistan for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Greece.
President, I would like to thank Panama and the United States for convening this meeting at such a critical juncture. As gang violence continues to ravage Haiti and the mandate of the multinational security support mission approaches its expiration next month. The presence of the Secretary General underscores the gravity of the situation and the urgency for decisive Council action. I wish to thank His Excellency Mr. Guterres for his comprehensive briefing, as Greece fully subscribes to his call for immediate action. I would also like to thank the Executive Director of UNICEF, Ms. Catherine Russell, and Mr. Jean-Jean Roosevelt for highlighting the horrific acts of violence and unthinkable cruelty against children. We welcome the presence of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Barbados. In view of the above, I would like to make the following 3 points. First, Greece remains deeply concerned about the deteriorating security situation, with gangs extending their territorial control in Centre and Artibonite departments. The MSS has delivered positive results in combating gang violence in the capital, thanks to the steadfast leadership of Kenya and the valuable commitment of all contributing nations. However, the MSS continues to face critical logistical and financial shortfalls. As we have consistently underlined, providing further UN logistical and operational support in line with the Secretary General's recommendation is an essential step towards stabilizing Haiti. In this regard, we welcome the announcement just made by the pen holders that they will put forward a resolution on the way forward, and we take positive note of the letter sent by the Haitian authorities yesterday announcing the intention by certain member states to establish a standing group of partners. At the same time, efforts to curb criminal activity, including illicit arms,
you.